Some breaking news. The national television schedule, it's been released for the 2025 W season. There are 175 games you can catch on national TV and on streaming.
Did you hear about the new national TV schedule for the WNBA? Get this, a staggering 41 out of 44 games for one team are going to be nationally televised or streamed. Let that sink in, 41 out of 44. Now who do you think is the common denominator in all those games? Yep, you guessed it, Caitlyn Clark. It's pretty clear at this point, despite any attempts to downplay it, that Caitlyn Clark isn't just a player, she's a phenomenon. And the WNBA, the networks, the team owners, everyone is scrambling to capitalize on the Caitlyn effect. Is she single-handedly transforming the entire league? Well, let's dive into the numbers because they tell a pretty wild story.
Discouraged Alyssa Thomas from making some of her great passes.
No one picks up Clark, who cans the three.
Think about this for a second. The Indiana Fever, just a few years ago, they were struggling, barely filling seats, and definitely not dominating the headlines. Fast forward to now, and they're practically taking over national television. 41 nationally televised games. That's not just a lot. It's unheard of for a team that wasn't a dynasty or in a huge media market before Caitlyn arrived. It's actually kind of ironic when you consider all the talking heads out there trying to find something, anything negative to say about Caitlyn. Meanwhile, those same networks are practically tripping over themselves to broadcast her games, raking in the cash. And the viewership numbers? Absolutely insane. Last year, her rookie season, the WNBA saw its most watched season in 24 years, pulling in over 54 million viewers. And guess who was front and center for many of those record-breaking games? You already know. One regular season Fever game on ABC hit 2.23 million viewers. Another on CBS, 2.25 million. Those are numbers you expect to see in the NBA, not just the WNBA, and it's all thanks to one rookie sensation, but it's not just TV ratings that are going through the roof.
With such star power on those teams, it's really no surprise they're atop the list for the most games available for you to check out on a national scale. The Fever, they lead the league with 41 games here, followed by the Aces 33, the champion Liberty at 32.
The impact of Caitlyn Clark extends way beyond your TV screen. It's hitting arenas across the country. Demand to see her play live is so massive, it's causing, well, let's call it scheduling conflicts. Teams are literally moving their home games against Indiana to bigger venues, NBA-sized arenas, just to fit in all the fans. Dallas, Chicago, even Atlanta. Atlanta's owner even hilariously tried to blame it on a scheduling conflict at their usual arena, right? We all know what's really going on. It's become a running joke. Caitlyn Clark is the scheduling conflict. But honestly, can you blame these teams? Caitlyn is a guaranteed economic stimulus package. Look at last year's attendance figures, a 48% jump league-wide. Sellouts more than tripled. And for the Fever's home games, over 340,000 fans packed the stands, a 319% increase from the year before. Think about that for a second. A team that drew about 80,000 fans suddenly drew 340,000. That's the raw power of the Caitlyn Clark effect. But while all this is undeniably amazing for the WNBA, you just know there are other star players watching this and maybe feeling a little bit some type of way.
If we say her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5
crazy.
5.6 turnovers.
Those are hell of a number.
Those are hell of a numbers.
But to me, that's not dominating.
Let's be real, 41 nationally televised games for the Fever is a huge number, dominating the landscape. Yes, other stars and teams are getting exposure. The Aces, 33 games. The champion Liberty, 32. Still great numbers, but there's a clear hierarchy here. Then you have Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky with 24 national broadcasts. Decent, sure, but almost half of Caitlyn's total, and 5 of those Sky games are against, you guessed it, the Fever. Let's face it, playing against Caitlyn is basically a guaranteed ticket to national airtime for any team. So maybe Angel can't quite claim to be the sole catalyst for all this attention, despite what some egos might want to believe. But hey, at least when Caitlyn comes to town, everyone gets a little bit of that spotlight. It's just different. And Caitlyn herself, how is she navigating all this attention, all this hype, and maybe even a little bit of, well, let's call it side-eye from some corners?
Samuelson, nice pass there to Clark. Clark behind the back. Oh, it's Smith with the finish. Brilliance from Caitlyn Clark.
Here's the really interesting part. The one person who could be out there pounding her chest, demanding endorsements, acting like a diva, isn't. Caitlyn Clark, in the middle of this whirlwind of hype and expectation, is staying remarkably grounded. She consistently deflects praise, focusing on her teammates, on growing the game, on team goals. While others in the league are hinting at player strikes and demanding more leverage, Caitlyn's publicly staying completely out of it. She's just putting in the work, letting her game speak for itself. Think about this. The NBA invited her to their All-Star weekend for the three-point contest, a massive honor and a huge platform, but she turned it down. Why? Because she didn't want to be a sideshow at the NBA's event. She'd rather headline the WNBA's three-point contest at their All-Star weekend, which conveniently is in Indianapolis. She passed up a huge individual spotlight to elevate her own league. That's a league-first mentality you don't see every day. And while everyone else is debating who deserves what, consider this.
Helped guide Connecticut to the semifinals where they've been each of the last 5 years, and Bonner.
Caitlyn Clark reportedly made around $11 million last year. Impressive, right? Except get this, less than 1% of that came from her WNBA salary. We're talking about a player who is driving record viewership, selling out arenas, and basically revitalizing an entire league, and her actual salary from that league is, well, comparatively tiny. She could easily complain. She delivers more value for those dollars than almost anyone, but instead she seems to accept it. Her agent even openly said she'll likely never be paid what she's truly worth by the WNBA, and Caitlyn seems fine with that. Why? Because she understands her role. She's a trailblazer. Think of her like the WNBA's Larry Bird, the Midwestern superstar who saves a fledgling league, setting the stage for future generations. Bird and Magic didn't make today's NBA money, but they turned the NBA into a global phenomenon. Caitlyn seems willing to be that figure for women's basketball. Her legacy might not be about her personal wealth, but about taking the WNBA to a whole new level so that future players, not just the stars, but all the players, have a healthier financial future.
Open 4 against Howard, and she's met at the top and rejected!
But Caitlyn's influence isn't just contained within the basketball court or TV ratings, it's spilling out into the wider culture, creating a real tidal wave. Think about her endorsements. She's racking up deals with major brands, becoming the face of everything from sports apparel to national advertising campaigns. She's not just a basketball player anymore, she's a brand, and her appeal extends way beyond just traditional sports fans. She's drawing in people who might never have watched a WNBA game before, curious to see what all the fuss is about. You see her popping up at Pro-Am golf events, cheering on her favorite NFL team alongside international pop stars. She's becoming that rare star who transcends her sport, crossing over into mainstream celebrity. She's generating headlines simply by existing in the public sphere. This isn't just about basketball anymore, it's about a cultural moment, and Caitlyn Clark is at the very center of it. But with this level of fame and attention comes an immense amount of pressure.
This team's so tough. You look at Big Sil inside, Sylvia Fowles and Shepard. Nice pass to Sophie Cunningham.
Let's be honest, being the savior of the league at 23 years old comes with a mountain of pressure. Every move Caitlyn makes is scrutinized, every game is analyzed, and every opinion, good or bad, is amplified. Can she really sustain this level of intensity? There are definitely challenges. She's facing a constant barrage of haters and doubters, people looking for any reason to tear her down. She has to perform at an elite level every single night, knowing that millions are watching and judging. The weight of expectation, not just for herself, but for the entire WNBA, is immense. It's a pressure cooker environment unlike anything the league has ever seen. And yet so far, Caitlyn seems to be handling it with remarkable poise. She hasn't cracked, she hasn't crumbled, she keeps showing up, keeps working hard, and keeps letting her game do the talking. But this is a marathon, not a sprint. The pressure isn't going away anytime soon. And how she navigates this long-term both on and off the court will be crucial, not just for her own career, but for the continued growth of the WNBA. But if she can keep this up, if she can continue to thrive under this spotlight, the future for the WNBA is looking incredibly bright.
Guy kicks it to Cunningham. 3 on the way is good. No foul is called, and now tempers are flaring.
Looking ahead, the Caitlyn Clark effect is poised to usher in a true renaissance for the WNBA. Imagine a league where arenas are consistently packed, where national TV broadcasts are the norm, not the exception, and where players are finally earning salaries that reflect their incredible talent and dedication. That's the trajectory we're on, and Caitlyn is the rocket fuel. She's not just a flash in the pan, she's laying the foundation for sustained growth and popularity. She's inspiring a new generation of young girls to pick up a basketball and dream of WNBA stardom. She's bringing in new fans, new sponsors, and a whole new level of excitement to the women's game. Years from now, when we look back at this era of the WNBA, we'll see it as the turning point, the moment when everything changed. And at the heart of it all will be Caitlyn Clark, the player who didn't just break records, she broke barriers and redefined what's possible for women's basketball. The future is female, and thanks in no small part to Caitlyn, the future of the WNBA is brighter than ever. The Caitlyn Clark phenomenon isn't just hype, it's real. It's changing the WNBA in real time. She's filling arenas, shattering TV ratings, and sparking an arms race among teams. And she's doing it all with a smile and a humble attitude. Teams can call it scheduling conflicts or credit incredible performances all they want, but we all know the truth. Caitlyn is the superstar driving this new era, and the best part, it's lifting the entire league with her. The stage is set for an unforgettable season. If you thought last year was wild, get ready. Year 2 of the Caitlyn Clark Show could be even bigger. We might see even more records fall, maybe even a deep playoff run or a championship for the Fever. Who knows? One thing's for sure, you won't want to miss a minute. So mark those Fever game dates, tune in and enjoy the ride.